it is falling apart. The roof has collapsed, and the city of Savannah says it's unsafe.
For close to 7 years now, they've tried to work with the owner of this dilapidated building on Waters Avenue. Now they say their patience is worn thin and they want action. Problem is, the owner is ill, and his son, who the family says is now in charge of that property, is tough to get a hold of, which, as News 3's community reporter Alice Massimi explains, is surprising, especially since he's a state senator.
Well, Tina and Russ, that state senator is Lester Jackson III. I talked to him about the condition of the building, and he told me it's his father Lester Jackson Jr.'s property, and he knows nothing about it. But that's in conflict with this, a memo to city staff from the city manager saying she talked to Senator Lester Jackson about the property. It's not a pretty sight. City Alderwoman Mary Osborne calls it an eyesore. At the corner of Waters Avenue and Park, to put it simply, it's a mess, and it has been for years.
I believe the history goes back to about 2006. We've been aware of this property. We've been working with the property owner to bring this building into compliance.
Savannah Public Affairs Officer Brett Bell explains since 2005, the city has moved to condemn it 3 separate times. But even that hasn't prompted any action.
We're at the point now where it's time to bring this case to a resolution.
Earlier this week, they deemed the property unfit for habitation, recommending demolition.
We're working deliberately but firmly with the property owner to either do something with this property or sell to someone who can.
The city says they haven't pushed the matter in recent years because Jackson Jr. was sick, which is why the city says they began trying to call his son, State Senator Lester Jackson. According to documents, calls were often not returned, but on a few occasions they reached the senator and talked about the issues with the Waters Avenue property. Government documents also indicate the city was directed by the elder Jackson to talk to his son, the senator, about the property. And when we called today, Mrs. Jackson also told us her son was handling the property.
This is a really key intersection right here. This is sort of what we see as the future the main street area of the Waters Avenue corridor.
Which is why the city has even offered to buy the rundown building.
And we informed the property owner of what the appraisal came back at. At that time, he indicated that the appraisal was too low. We asked him to conduct his own independent appraisal. We have yet to see that appraisal.
When we called the number listed on the building's for sale sign, we were told by Mrs. Jackson it was $90,000, $30,000 more than the city's appraisal. Bell says something has to give.
We're going to bring it back into Recorder's Court, and then we'll make a case before the judge.
Well, the city hopes the trip to court will mean either property improvements or demolition. Now, to be fair, we should repeat that Senator Jackson is not the legal owner. What seems clear is that he has been involved with the property, yet it remains in a dilapidated state. When I asked Senator Jackson if he thought the condition of the property was acceptable, he told me his father had applied for loans from the city several times in order to revitalize the property, but they had never been approved. Brett Bell says, however, the city has no records of any loan applications from Jackson's father.